dude. Time for more balancing. The last two patches brought us closer, but there's still more things to do. While Ranger, Reaper, and Zerker seem even, Pyro still overperforms despite the previous nerfs, so Pyro gets another round of nerfs until it's in line with the other three. Don't worry, Pyro, if this shows up to be too harsh, we will buff them back next week. For Ranger, Reaper, Berserker. Hey, Bear. Glad you're enjoying the content. Hope you're still able to enjoy the more recent stuff too. For Ranger, Reaper, Zerker, we now even out the subclasses, mostly buffing the weaker ones. Okay, cool, cool. This is one complaint that I definitely have right now, where it seems like even if three of the classes feel somewhat equally viable, it's usually like one subclass on each class, or two subclasses that kind of do the same thing. Pineapple gets a bit better. Okay. Fanfare cooldown. Does that do anything? What is the... Okay, what is the text on Fanfare? What does this thing do? Every 4.5, gain an Empower or gain mana. And remove mana. Or remove the stamina. Triggers 10% faster for each star. This has 9 stars. Not the worst source of Empower in the game. It's just slower scaling than all of the other stuff that scales right now. Pandemonium now has one more star. Damage -3. What was its damage before? That's a strange change. So it was 9 to 11, but now it inflicts more poison. Stars are all along the top. So you don't want to put a garlic on the end here anymore. This is now a blueberry spot. You put the garlic here. Pandemonium was already, like, not terrible if you had an early enough Corrupted Crystal. This feels like they're just buffing stuff that already wasn't bad. Poison felt like by far the most consistent thing to be doing on Reaper, if not the most powerful late game. I don't think this buff does anything to make the poison late game better, but it does make the early mid game a bit better, which is already where it's strongest. I don't know. Pandemonium was an optional item before. Maybe now you're incentivized a little bit harder to play the pan starts. Which I'm also not a huge fan of. I've kind of liked how diverse the Reaper early game was. You can play Torch, you can play Double Broom, you can play Pan. Whereas if you want to be making a Pandemonium because it's stronger, you're incentivized to just play Pan every game. Yeah, weird change. Ice Dragon, Cold Thresh. It's in the neutral section. Okay. Cold Threshold from 20 to 12. Block gain from 50 to 35. It happens once, right? Opponent reaches 12, yeah. Gain 35, block. Still hits hard, you just don't get as much defensively from it. Like, could be seen as a buff that you get the block earlier in the fight, too. Especially with the way Chill works, where you're slowing your opponent down over the course of the fight. The earlier you get the block boost, the better. Even if it is less block. They just keep you alive through their burst. Burning Torch. Damage gain chance from 30 to 25. So it has now lost 10% from what it was initially. Damage -1. Heat threshold 15 to 8. But you don't need as much heat for the scaling to start. It's weird, because it's still only Pyro that's getting to 8 heat reasonably. But it's pretty trivial for Pyro to get to 8 heat. How'd the tourney go? I played 2 rounds in 3 hours and then went to bed. I think the tournament just wrapped up day 1 like 2 hours ago. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. The damage -1 is big. That's a big hit to solo torch viability. It's already a Pyro start that tends to be a little low on damage. The benefit's just you don't lose to shields at all. But this might make you get raced by stuff that you didn't previously. Especially with the damage gain also lowered. It's probably the biggest hit to Pyro in a while. Thorn Whip. Stamina usage 2.5 to 2.4. Sure. Dancing Dragon. Damage per heat. From 1.0 to 0.5. Heat luck per magic item from 1 to 2. So scales less absurdly with just Pyro. But now makes you... But still the same reward for buying magic items. Well, more reward because you also get the heater luck bonus. Still probably pretty absurd on Pyro, but good change. Sapphire weapon chances reduced. Oh, interesting. Gems just keep getting nerfed. This is 15 instead of 20. This was 30. This was 50. Perfect is still 80. Perfect was 90. Oh, was it? It might have been. I know it got nerfed away from full block a while ago. Or full block pen. I thought I got knocked down to 80, but I could be wrong. Pyro. Fire Pit. Health bonus per fire item from 5 to 4. Okay. That's nice. They don't get to just start with a leather armor. Frostbite, chance to inflict cold from 70 to 60. Still going after Frost? I saw so little Frost after the changes last week. I guess it's still overperforming, even if nobody's playing it. Huh. Obsidian Dragon, heat needed for bonus attack from 15 to 22. Okay, fair, fair. This item was absurd. Still keeps all of its damage buffs from the previous patch. Phoenix, health per heat, 7 to 6. Sure. How often does it matter? Like, Phoenix is often overcapping you, right? It's such a weird thing to go after for Phoenix. The thing that makes Phoenix good isn't the revive. It's a big damage burst weapon that plays well with Draconic Orb. Just such a strange change. Burning Sword, change to gain heat. 60 to 50. Sure. Also no stam. Yeah, exactly. It's a no stam weapon that hits really hard and gets crits off your Draconic Orb. It's a small nerf to the portion of the item that isn't terribly problematic. Yeah. And like even in situations where you're getting the Phoenix revive, it's not even necessarily relevant. Because if you're overcapping on HP, the difference between 7 and 6 is non-existent as soon as you heal a little bit. Okay, here we go. Draconic Orb. Crits from 4 to 3, and it gets a bit slower. So it is no longer the fastest Goob trigger before godly items. And you're getting less crits, so it is easier to survive the burst. Can appreciate the baby steps. Yeah, I get that. It's just it's a weird aspect of it to go after. Like I don't think anyone's complaining about Phoenix reviving you with a bunch of health. Usually when you're losing to Phoenix, it's not because of the revive, it's because they killed you in 5 seconds. Yeah, this is a big nerf. This is also a somewhat significant nerf to Chili Goob, indirectly. Because you would often have Draconic Orb as one of your triggers. Or two of your triggers. I think a lot of people moved away from Chili Goob last week in favor of the Obsidian Dragon stuff. But with there being fewer crits to burst, you'd probably be going back to it now. 2 Sun Armor nerfs in 2 patches. Is that surprising? It's like the best armor in the game by... Well, the best armor in the game that isn't like solo carrying the class. But yeah, so now it's gone from 25 to 17. Like, this item alone makes Fatigue Pyro a somewhat viable archetype. It is so much healing. It is so much debuff cleanse. It's a fast trigger. Flame Whip. Cooldown 2.0 to 1.7. Man. I did my Flame Whip experiments a day too early. Fire Staff. +1 damage. Could get some attack speed or something. Gets flat damage. Is that a big buff? It seems like a huge buff. The Flame Whip one, it's a... It combined with the Pineapple is kind of nice, but... I don't know. It still syncs so that you need 2 Pineapples to have spikes every time Flame Whip swings. And you still kind of want Wolpeltinger. Because you do still need to fix your stam, because you're going to have a bunch of heat. Wolpeltinger both gives you spikes and fixes your stam. It's a buff. You still probably don't want to be relying on Flame Whip to kill the opponent, but it's good for just getting a ton of heat to fuel, like, Sun Armor fatigue or something. Flame Whip had a bit of scaling as well. It scales, it just doesn't scale damage. It scales everything else on your board. Just gotta find what the best way to abuse scaling everything else on your board is. You could maybe Steel Goob with it. I don't know. Staff of Fire, Molten Damage, Molten Spear, all +1 damage. I feel like Molten Spear is already really strong in the early game. Huh. This still doesn't build into anything. Continue to refuse to ever use Molten Dagger. Yeah, probably. I don't know, it doesn't take that many flat damage buffs for Hammer Dagger to start being interesting. The big problem with Hammer Dagger right now is just everyone is playing Shield of Valor. I mean, you just don't want to play Hammer Dagger into Shield of Valor comps. Uses too much heat. Your comp that gets a bunch of bonus attacks. And it's not like you get nothing out of the heat. The dagger scales. Molten Dagger would need insane stats to bother using them. I don't know. Flame Whip gives you a lot of heat. It's just expensive. Like, Flame Whip's honestly not that bad if you can get Flame Whip plus Wolpeltinger. Losing the fight on the combined turn sucks, but Flame Whip was weirdly kind of strong when we tried it last night. Axe Double Axe. Cooldown 1.9 to 2.0. Again! Armored Courage Puppy. Cooldown from 4 to 3.5. Power Puppy. Cooldown from 4 to 3.5. Armored Power Puppy. Cooldown 3.5 to 3.0. So, Power Puppy is the fast goob trigger, right? Hmm. We probably have to try that again. A 0.5 buff is a huge buff to a scaling Goobert trigger. Get the armored one. The armored one went to 3.0. They both gained 0.5. Yeah, it seems like the plan for Zerker is to let them keep their crazy armor, but instead make it so they can't deal any damage. Which I guess is a way to balance it. Armored one gets 20%. Yeah, that's the point. You make the armored one surround it with food to get really fast cube triggers. Badger Rune, Elephant Rune, Hawk Rune. 6 to 5. Cool. Chain Whip. We're buffing Chain Whip? You're insane. Dev, you're insane. Why? Why are we doing this? I guess if we just never introduce more comps that care about buffs, this is a reasonable thing to do. But come on. This thing is such a blowout in the matchups where the buff removal matters. It's just there's not enough of those comps right now for it to make sense. It's like if we buffed Bloodthorn back when everyone was just incidentally buying Ripsaw Blades. Because Bloodthorn had bad matchups into everyone buying Ripsaw Blades. Like, yeah, nobody plays it. But it is not hard to imagine a world where people are playing comps that care about buffs. And then all of a sudden, Chain Whip is very strong. Mega Clover. Bonus sale chance. Yes. Yes. I mean, it is technically a nerf. And the... it just, like, doesn't take away from the ceiling of it at all. People are still gonna play it. You're still gonna run into the Mega Clover board on round 17. It's still gonna kill you in 5 seconds through whatever defense you have with a ton of sustained damage. The comp doesn't even buy items. It buys bags all game. Like, the number of Mega Clover boards that I see that are just the Steel Goob from early, 2 bows, 2 Shield of Valors, a lamp, and then Clovers through the rest of the bag. I mean, that's like every Ranger board that I see. Like, are they even using the sale chance? Does anyone buy on sale items after picking Mega Clover? Hedgehog. Spikes. 1 to 2. Cool. I guess. Rat. Chance to inflict poison from 50 to 70. Chance to inflict blind from 15 to 10. I don't think that matters. Huh. Leaf. Heal 5 to 8. What's that? When you spend mana, you get the healing? Is poison good? It seems like a big jump. It is kind of a big jump. I don't know, maybe you can play, like, pure Forest Friends with no Steel Goob. You have to find so many Forest Friends, though. I didn't play Stay 1. I played 2 rounds in 3 hours, and then went to bed. Poison Ivy. Poison Threshold 19 to 18. More bonus damage. I don't know. Okay, maybe try that again. Belladonna Shade. Poison / debuff inflict chance from 60 to 70. Fortuna's Hope luck chance from 50 to 60. Huh. How much does that change? It's still gonna take 4 attacks most of the time to get your 2 luck back, right? Soup still seems like a waste of clovers. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice in longer fights. It makes it so that like your 10 clover turns are able to get to 20 luck to get your clover buffs eventually. But it slows down your insta-lamp. I usually don't make it because I don't want to slow down the insta-lamp. I'd rather just have Exodia on turn 15 than be a little bit stronger in long fights on turns like 12, 13, and 14. Carrot luck requirements from 5 to 4. That's a nice change. Getting Empower out of Carrot usually feels like a post-subclass thing. Lucky Pig now gets you halfway there. 2 Lucky Pigs gets you there. I guess 2 Lucky Pigs is a pretty big ask, too. Reaper! Cleanse Resist from 5 to 4. Okay, cooldown from 2 to 2.2. That's the more significant change. There's another change up here, right? Oh yeah, Pandemonium got an additional slot. I don't know. A lot of the cops poison came from Scythe Snake. Lifter, Vampirism from 2 to 3. Cool. Pretty sure Blood Thorn is still unplayable. Can't really Hungry Blade on Reaper. What else cares about Vampirism? Mana Thirst? Blood Goob? Maybe you can do like Mana Thirst, Blood Goob stuff? It's a lot of stuff. How are you generating mana? You just have to find orbs. Double Blood Goob just gets silly when you get enough base vamp. Does it? I did it in early access, and it felt too weak there. The only success that I ever had with Blood Goob was... Well, the only success I had with it on Reaper was getting like an on-sale Blood Amulet with Unhealing. It felt like it needed crits on Ranger to function. Otherwise, the damage was just too low. I feel like 1 Vampirism doesn't change that very much. Cauldron. Cooldown from 4 to 3. So it can do nothing even faster. Strong Mana Potion from 7 to 9 mana. A lot of vamp stuff has been buffed since then. Has it been? Cauldron can generate mana. Yeah, it's like heal 10, gain 3 mana. Figure out what the other mode is. Two heat. Strong Vampiric Potion. Life Steal from 13 to 20. Strong Divine Potion. More cleanses, more random buffs. It's just... Strong Divine Potion into trying to insta-lamp is interesting. But it's just so expensive. And so slow. Staff of Unhealing. Heal +1. That'll show him. Mrs. Struggles. Cooldown 3.5 to 3. Okay. Misfortune. Cooldown 2.5 to 2. But what do you do with it? Use it as a goob trigger. Cats. I guess that's fair. Like, this being gated behind Mr. Struggles, I feel makes it so much harder to use. Because, like, what comp both wants Mr. Struggles and has a bunch of luck that it wants to launder into another buff? Like, this item's cool. But on Reaper especially, what do you do with it? Luck into luck? That doesn't get you anywhere on Reaper. Can you get Empower on Reaper? Not easily. Like, I tried playing it with Chonk, but you can imagine how well that went. Where you need to make a Chonk while taking Mr. Struggles. It was a struggle. Like, the only luck gen on Reaper is, like, Lamp, Flute, and then you get a little bit of flat luck from Deck and Ace. Maybe Blueberry, if you're stacking a ton of mana. And the relevant buffs to stack would be Vampirism, Heat, Empower. Are probably the exciting ones. Maybe you can go, like, Bloodthorn Struggles. You lose so much of your sustain not taking Lifter. That can't be right. Even if you're laundering your luck into regen, you're just straight up losing 3 early Vampirism and losing your Healing Amp and Lifesteal, or damage to life gain. Like, the Lifter itself already does a ton for Bloodthorn, or Struggles itself is just eventual speed up, and then eventual speed up on your comp that already struggles with stamina, and then you can eventually pick up a Mrs. Fortune. Be cool. Yeah, Hyper Fatigue is cool. I'm just not sure how you're getting the heat or the luck. The Fool. Speed bonus, 35 to 40. Cool. Ace of Spades, Reverse, Blue Eyes, and Lizard cost 1 less. Also cool. Making Chonk slightly easier. Ace of Spades costing less is nice for early cards. Reverse is still probably a skip. I would just make playing cards for value a bit better. Like, White Eyes is a bunch of block. Easiest way to gain luck on Reaper is Tim? That's not true. Tim can't even gain luck in every fight. And in a lot of the fights that he could gain luck, the opponent has other buffs that make it hard to gain luck off Tim. Flute seems much more reliable. Not that Flute's very good, but... Stamina usage can no longer get negative. That's really funny. I know I'm not laughing, but that's really funny. I didn't know you could get stamina usage negative. Strong Mana Potion / Divine Potion. Now mix colors correctly with other potions. Wardrobe now works with controller. Okay. Rapier Struggles didn't feel that terrible. Nowhere near good enough with Steel Cubes and non-buff reliant peeps everywhere. The full speed increase is non-trivial. I'd believe it. It would make long card chains more playable. Sort of the things that are interesting to try from this patch. I'm pretty sure full cards is still not a thing that you can do, but we'll probably try it. Ivy Ranger, I guess, is back on the menu. Definitely want to try Steel Goob or Cheese Goob with fast power puppies. We have a few Exodia comps with Flame Whip Crusader. Yeah, if Flame Whip's gonna be good, it's probably gonna be some silly Fatigue Pyro build. Would not be too surprised if it was good. It felt close to good yesterday. I probably also want to try just playing Chain Whip and seeing how that feels.